Now let's talk about Aspen. Very important to us, very big and important company in many South African portfolios. So what started out as a generic company which really made knockoffs of other people's drugs in South Africa only has now grown into a global pharma company. It's kind of almost at the fringes of the big league. It has focused in recent years on acquiring assets in the anesthetics, anti-coagulant and infant milk formula areas. There's also got a couple of others in other space we'll talk about. Market capitalization, 139.6 billion rands. Please, folks, get your currency right. Rands. Price earnings ratio, 23.55 based on recent results, which were about 10 days ago. Dividend yield, 0.94. So you don't earn them for the dividend. But what was your sense of the recent numbers?
I thought of big improvement, especially in the second half. The first half results were, I think a lot of people had a lot of questions about it, but you saw in the results especially the anesthetics portfolio coming through. Sales had almost gone up to 7 billion just from this was the anesthetics portfolio they bought from AstraZeneca.
Yeah, exactly.
Last year. There also seems to be a coming together, if I can call it that, of the strategy that was put forward a few years ago. Yeah. They wanted to be big in injectables, and now they're beginning to say, listen, they're going to get a significant portion of their revenue, I think close to 30 or 40%.
And they're going to manufacture them themselves in their variety of facilities, which are Germany, France, PE, and East London and Cape Town.
So, that I think the market was waiting for that sort of announcement to start coming through, where they put in, deadlines on exactly where they expect it to be.
Because when Stephen Saad buys companies, he typically does some pretty heavy panel beating. He says this thing's going to be made there, and this manager's gone, and this one from PE is going to be the boss in Germany, that kind of thing.
And of course, they didn't have the repeat of any one source. Like last year, they had the big issue in Venezuela where they had to devalue the currency. And that had a big impact on earnings. So it seems to me that Aspen's long-term strategy is still back on track.
Yeah.
I think the overall growth in profits was over 46%, something like that. Earnings were up close to 20%. So I think it's restored some confidence back in the
okay, two more questions.
community.
What about the fact that in the anticoagulant environment they seem to get somewhat depressed sales in Europe? Is this just a byproduct of like weak consumer demand, and then maybe also just a little bit of an after effect, a hangover effect from some of the sort of aggressive reorganization of the business?
I think it's going to take a little bit longer than what they initially thought it would. I mean, when you buy a business, you normally have a plan, which is something that you put down, and you have to attach time frames to it. But the anticoagulant business, remember, is based on using a product that's an alternative to heparin, which has got its own side effects. Okay. So it's a new product. It's a product that still has to gain traction. Doctors have to be comfortable using it. Once that penetration starts coming through, I'd say, you can expect a sort of J-curve result from the anticoagulant.
Let's look at the share chart, because it's been a disappointment since it hit 420 something at the end of 2015. 2016 was difficult. There was a fake head there. It fell back again, and then you see this rise from below 300 Rand to above 300 Rand in recent times. I just want to ask you another issue. There are two more questions coming. One is about debt. So they loaded up with a lot of European debt in order to buy lots of these acquisitions from Merck and from AstraZeneca, as you mentioned, some Glaxo assets. That's fine and well, though, because in Europe they get a lot of money at pretty low rates, because there's a lot of demand in Europe, because bond rates on government sovereign bonds and all that other stuff is not really sufficient. So what might be called high yield is attractive. Are you worried at all about the quantum of the debt that Aspen has relative to its cash flows?
If you look at 5-6 years ago, I mean, the time that they bought in Sigma, there was also this, Sigma was the Australian business that they bought, and I think they subsequently sold it as well.
Parts of it went, yeah.
Yeah. So, they seem to be very astute in terms of how they manage their debt profile. And if you look at the cash flow generation in the business, it is enormous. So, I don't really have an issue with them being able to pay down their debt, so long as the revenue model stays intact.
And they've got the sales force in place now to pull it off. Okay, one additional question, and that is the infant milk formula business. So they've got significant exposure in all sorts of parts of the world, including Latin America, Africa, Australia. China, there's some drama going on where they're registering foreign suppliers or something. So that's a potentially upside market for them, but it has been difficult of late.
Yeah, so funnily enough, because they have such a big infant milk formula business in China, There's a lot of Chinese people that travel over to Australia, buy the infant milk, and then go and resell it back in China. It's actually quite a big business in China. You'll also know that the Chinese have now relaxed the one-child policy. Now you've got a two-child policy in place. Babies. So there's going to be a lot more babies around, and now obviously a lot more demand for the infant milk formula.
So that, in the long run, is a plus for them, and they've got the production facilities in Australia, and they're going to move the stuff into China. Okay, Stephen Sard, very, very confident, comfortable, such a great CEO, such a great presenter. He does get the support of the market. The real issue, though, is from this level of around 315 rands a share, is it going back to where it was? And is that going to be a relatively smooth process, would you say? There's downside limited, hot or not?
Listen, I think it's hot because I focus more on the earnings rather than on the share price. And I can see that there is this coming together of the strategy.
It looks good.
It may take maybe a year or two, a bit more, for them to get precisely on track, but hot for me.
Got the shareholder base in place. Good, hot on that.